Welcome to my Entrepreneurship channel, YouTube channel. I'm your Entrepreneurship tutor, Professor Henry Buisa of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology, Kenya of course. Today, I am looking at that title, How Taxi Drivers Can Take the Road to Entrepreneurship. Yes, I want to talk about drivers, taxi drivers, and entrepreneurship. Yeah, many of us know an entrepreneur as a person who adds value to things. Entrepreneurs, business people, non-entrepreneurs, hustlers, we get across those terms, particularly here in Kenya. We look at a business person, like this is somebody buys watermelon, slices it, and sells it. Sliced, buys at 3, sells at 4. Very little value addition. Then an entrepreneur comes in, buys the watermelon, slices it, but does not sell the slice. He makes juice, adds more value, and by making juice, he makes more money. Buying at 3 like the business person, but selling at 8, double what the business person gets. And mind you, by making juice, the peels, the seeds are left. To an entrepreneur, that's not waste. Those peels, those seeds can either be sold to pig farmers, pig keepers, even those ones doing black soldier fly, earthworms. In other words, apart from selling the juice at 8, they can also convert the waste to raw materials to sell. So entrepreneurs make something more than what business people do. But now we also have infopreneurs. Like what I'm doing now. I'm giving you information. I'm teaching you how to be an entrepreneur. How to move from being a business person to an entrepreneur. So I'm giving information. And infopreneurs, like consultants, get even more. So this is generally how many of us look at entrepreneurship, but from the point of view of physical products. Now, it has been difficult for some of my trainees to comprehend that entrepreneurship can take place in the service sector, where no physical product is being produced. It is for this reason that I want to tell a story that I have adapted from my WhatsApp group. By adapting, I here mean I have added some value to the original plain story, and I did this aloud. If you add value, if you modify a story such that it looks completely different from the original, there's no plagiarism. You have taken a raw material and you have converted it into a finished product that is different from how you got it. So don't tell me I'm plagiarizing, because I'm attempting. I want to add in value. This was a story of a passenger ferried by one Uber taxi owner in Nairobi. You may also remember that on this channel, I have covered an entrepreneurial minibus business. If you can look at that link, that is a story about a minibus that is doing rounds in Nyanza, the former Nyanza, Siaya, and all that. But that is not the story today. So, Avista arrived, the story goes, Avista arrived to Kenya via the airport and went through the arrival protocols. There, Vista arriving, being waited for arrivals, going through the protocols, COVID, all that finished. Then the visitor waited in a queue for the next taxi to take him to his destination, traveling from the airport across the city of Nairobi beyond to the other side. There it is, international arrivals, queuing for the next taxi. You can see people queuing. Then a cab pulled up, and the next thing the visitor noticed was that the taxi was polished to a bright shine. Not that. The taxi is polished to a bright shine. It's like, was different. It stood out of the park. Yes, taxi pulls up, immaculate, very smart, polished to the bright shine. And that gives attraction to the passengers. That is already being entrepreneurial. Doing things differently, keeping your taxi better than the rest. Then, a smartly dressed in tie and freshly pressed black slacks, the cab driver jumped out and rounded the car to open the back passenger door for him, for the visitor, that is. Yes, here you are. Taxi driver comes out well dressed, opens the door for the passenger to go in. This is also adding value. Not many taxi drivers will do that. They'll rather lower the passenger's window, ask through the window when they are still at their steering wheel, and say, okay, the passenger themselves will open the door and sit at the back or the front, wherever it is. Now, this one, they did differently. The driver then handed a passenger a simple laminated card and said, sorry, I'm Wafula, your driver. While I'm loading your bags in the boot, I would like you to read my mission statement. Look at that. Yes. As he's loading the bags, the luggage in the boot, he had given the passenger a card, good laminated card, simple, not necessarily expensive. Taken aback, the passenger read the card, which said, Wafula's mission statement: to get my customers to their destination in the quickest, safest, and the cheapest way possible in a friendly environment. Look at that. It's not always you get a driver who gives you mission statement. Positive, appetizing. The passenger was blown away simply, especially when he noticed that the inside of the cup matched the outside, spotlessly clean. Yes, look, spotlessly clean. Different from other taxis. Now, as he slid behind the wheel, Wafula said, would you like a cup of coffee? I have a thermos of regular coffee and one of Java coffee. Yes, in the car. Look, just near the gear, there is that thermos flask. There is that, on the armrest, there are all those goodies. And that's what Wafula is trying to offer the passenger. Now, the impressed but also amused passenger said jokingly, "No, I would prefer soft drink," almost adding, "Sir." Wafula smiled and said, "No problem. I have a cooler up front with the regular and diet Coke, Tuso, water, and orange juice." Now, almost shattering, the passenger said, "I will take Coke." You see, at the back seat, in between the two passengers, there's that cooler. And it is, equipped with those things. Now, handing the passenger her drink, Wafula said, "If you'd like something to read, I have the Daily Nation, the Star, Daily People, and the Standard papers." Look at that. At every stage, at every conversation, Wafula is impressing the passenger. Now, just before he pulled away, Wafula handed the passenger another laminated card and told the passenger, "These are the stations I get and the music they play. If you'd like to listen to the radio, feel free." Yes, look. The passenger, there's even like a TV on the back, on the back of the front seat for the passenger to enjoy. There is the music system, and being given a card to choose which station and which music. And as if that weren't enough, Wafula told the passenger that he had the air conditioning on and asked if the temperature was comfortable. Yes, Wafula goes on the information that is giving the passenger are all appetizing, are all comforting, are all welcoming, and all that is available in the taxi. Then Wafula advised the passenger of the best route to his destination, to her destination, for that time of day. He also let the passenger know that he would be happy to chat and tell him about some of the sites, or if the passenger preferred to be left alone. You see, Wafula was traveling across the city. They would pass through the Nairobi National Museum, the Kenyatta International Center, the University of Nairobi. He's offering that if the visitor wanted, he would, at every passing of a historical or an important spot, Wafula would be telling the passenger, just like asking for permission, whether I should be left alone, and all this is entrepreneurial service. Finally, the passenger asks, "Tell me, Wafula." The passenger was amazed and asked, "Have you always served customers like this?" Wafula smiled into the rear view mirror. "No, not always. In fact, it's only been in the last 2 years. My first 5 years of driving, I spent most of my time complaining like all the rest of the gap drivers do. Then I went to an entrepreneurship seminar." Yeah, look, this is common sight on Kenya. When the Uber came, the local taxis were up in arms. Uber, go home. There was war between the local drivers and the Uber because it's like they had no other way of outcompeting. There was no entrepreneurial method of outcompeting the incoming competitors. They know only one way, that the visitor or the passengers are served by them. The passenger is not king. They could even be arrogant, and that's what Wafula is saying. Then Wafula went to an entrepreneurship seminar. Then he says, at the seminar, we were told about entrepreneurship everywhere and a positive mind. If you get up in the morning expecting to have a bad day, you will get it. So stop complaining. And he says, that hit him really hard, said Wafula. Positive mind, positive life. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice. And Jack Ma says, if you have never tried, how will you ever know if there is any chance? So if you are listening to me, watching this, and you are a taxi driver, and you have never tried it, how will you ever know there is a chance? So try it first. And of course, if you were born poor, it's not your mistake. But if you die poor, it's your mistake. So don't go into that taxi business and again die poor. It will be a mistake. But if you are born poor in a poor family, that's not your mistake. So everything rests in your hands. This is what these gurus of entrepreneurship are telling us. And this is what hit Wafula and the story that we are now hearing. And Wafula agrees. All this was about me. I was always quacking and complaining. So I decided to change my attitude and think positively. I looked around and chatted with other drivers. Their cabs were dirty, the drivers were unfriendly, and the customers were unhappy. So I decided to make some changes. Slowly, a few at a time. When my customers responded well, I did more. Look, this looks like the chaotic scene of taxi drivers on the Kenyan roads. Look at how some are even, just sitting around on the taxis, dressed like to attract nobody, policemen harassing them, and that this kind of scene will not attract, many or some customers. The customers who can pay well if they are given comfort. And that this is what Wafula was saying. That this was the scenario, but he changed it. And now he serves like the story has said. Then the passenger says, I take it that it has paid off for you. The passenger said, oh yes, it has, Wafula replied. In my first year, I doubled my income from the previous year. This year, I'll probably quadruple it. My customers call me for appointments on my cell phone or leave a message on it. Wafula made a different choice. He decided to stop complaining and instead look at problems as opportunities. So, when you do that, you'll earn one look. $658 a month. That's what a good taxi driver earns in the US. Out here in Kenya, look. From 34,000 to 78, 80,000, you can earn. But that will not come on a silver plate. You have to be entrepreneurial in your service. Like the story you have talked about, Wafula. Yes, you might think it's fiction. No, it's not fiction. This was a true story. If you enjoyed it, please like it, share it with people, others, subscribe. And if you want to assist us, bring you more information, more knowledge, share with you more of our findings, please donate to help us, help each other. Just visit that website, www.mukmik.co.ke, and you will get direction for donation. If you are unable to go there, just use our buy goods till number and donate 547-6465. We shall bring you more. Thank you for listening, for watching. Have an entrepreneurial day, won't you?